Hello and welcome to Chapter 5, Deviant Behavior and Social Control. In the past chapters, we talked a lot about what is considered normal and acceptable behavior. We talked about things like morals, norms, and what is considered to be acceptable in society. In this chapter, we're going to go deeper into those topics in what we call deviant behavior and what society does to control and curb those behaviors. How do we differentiate what we consider normal or deviant? What is it that determines whether a person's actions are seen as eccentric, creative, or deviant? In your opinion, what makes a given action, such as a 25-year-old dating a 14-year-old, wrong to some people? Why will two men walking hand in hand cause raised eyebrows in one place but not in another? Now, in order to qualify to be called creative or visionary, we need to do something that is different from other people. You are not creative if you are just doing exactly the same thing as other people. But what is it that differentiates the people that we call creative and the people that we call crazy or sick or disgusting even? When we see someone who's an adult over the age of 18 or 20 or 21, depending on which country you're from, going after or dating someone who's below the age of 18, we call them names like pedophiles or child molesters. What is it that makes what these people are doing unacceptable or even criminal in the eyes of society? How would you feel if you see your guy friend walking around holding his friend's hand, or like holding his friend's hand and walking around like that? You see? Would you think that, oh, they must be gay or they are doing something that is funny? Who decides that it is wrong or unusual to hold your friend's hand when you're walking around? In some countries around the world, like in India and Pakistan, it is not uncommon for two men to hold their hands while they walk around in the street. You see, to them, they are just holding their friend's hand. There's absolutely nothing wrong with holding hands with your friend. We used to do that when we were kids. So what's wrong with adults doing it? How do we consider what is good, bad, right, or wrong? The moral code is the symbolic system in terms of which behavior takes on the quality of being good or bad, right or wrong. Moral codes can differ widely from one society to another. Remember this, whatever is considered good and acceptable in your society may be considered strange or unacceptable in another person's eye. Our standards of morals can differ greatly depending on what was taught by us, by our parents, by our teachers, from what we observe in our day-to-day lives. Therefore, in today's increasingly globalized society, it is important for us to try to look at things from another person's perspective. Let's look at the concept of what is considered deviant behavior. Deviant behavior refers to behavior that fails to conform to the rules or norms of group in question. Sociologist Emil Durkheim also stated that deviant behavior is an integral part of all healthy societies. When someone does something that is different or out of the ordinary from what we see in our day-to-day lives, we automatically try to assign a label to that person. Is what that person doing wrong, or is it just creative? Being able to recognize the different types of deviant behavior helps us categorize what we consider to be acceptable or unacceptable in our society. So what happens when we encounter deviant behavior? Do we give the person a warning or a suggestion not to carry on with his or her action? Or do we encourage them, hoping that they will continue to do whatever they are doing? Here we look at the different means of social control. How do you discourage someone or encourage someone from doing something? First and foremost, you have internal means of social control. Smaller primary groups teach their members what is good and acceptable. This becomes internalized and a part of an individual's life. What did your parents teach you when you were a kid? What did you learn in school? What were some of the behaviors that you observed from your parents and your friends around you? This plays an important role in our process of growing up because it very much shapes our psychology. External means of social control. Other people's responses to a person's behavior, that is, rewards and punishments, also known as sanctions. When we see someone doing something that we consider to be good or bad, what do we do to them? Sanctions are rewards and punishments that a group's members use to regulate or control an individual's behavior. There are positive and negative sanctions. Positive and negative sanctions work only to the degree that people can be reasonably sure that they will actually occur as a consequence of the given act. When someone does something good or something bad, it is important to reward them or punish them. This helps strengthen the idea that the action that someone carried out is good or bad, whether it is seen in a positive light or a negative light in society's eyes. Formal and informal sanctions applied in a public ritual, as in the awarding of a prize or an announcement of expulsion, and are usually under the direct or indirect control of the authorities. When we win an award, like in a debate competition or in badminton, our schools proudly announce our victory. The same goes when we do something bad, like if we were caught fighting or smoking in school. We are dragged publicly in front of everyone to show that what this person has done is unacceptable and should be shamed in public. Formal positive sanctions are public affairs, rituals, or ceremonies that express social approval of a person's behavior. Examples include a graduation ceremony or an award presentation. When we represent the school in a competition and when we win, or when we graduate from university, there is usually a ceremony that celebrates our achievement. Everybody would gather up, they would announce our name out loud for everyone to hear, and everyone would be clapping. This can be considered a form of reward to make the person who achieved what they have achieved feel good about themselves. This is to encourage other people to follow the footsteps of these great people, and also to have a sense of respect or admiration for them. Formal negative sanctions are actions that express institutionalized disapproval of a person's behavior. Examples include prison or public shaming. When someone does something that is bad and against the law, like murder, rape, or grand theft auto, it is the responsibility of the authorities to ensure that other people don't follow the footsteps of these criminals. Usually, the worse the crime, the worse the punishment. For example, the penalty for drug trafficking in Malaysia is mandatory death sentence. Compared to other countries like Australia or the United States, where the punishment for the same crime is jail time. Informal positive sanctions are displays people use spontaneously to express their approval of another's behavior. Such examples include smiles, pats on the back, handshakes, congratulations, hugs. When we see someone who has put on a nice shirt or put on some nice makeup, we smile at them and we say, "Wow, you look so nice today, you look so handsome, you look so beautiful today." When we attend someone's wedding, we shake their hands and say, "Congratulations." This is to show that we view what this person is doing in a positive way, that we want to encourage other people to do the same thing. Informal negative sanctions are spontaneous displays of disapproval or displeasure. Examples include frowns, damaging gossip, or impolite treatment. When we heard rumors or gossip, or when we found out that one of our colleagues have been sleeping around with the boss, or when we discover that one of our group members have not been doing their job properly, what do? Basically, we want to do things to let them know and to let other people know that what this person doing is unpleasant, it's bad, and it's unacceptable. So, what is it that causes a person to engage in what we call deviant behavior? Here we look at three theories of crime and deviance. There is the biological theory of deviance, the psychological theory of deviance, and the sociological theory of deviance. First, let's have a look at the biological theory of deviance. This theory says that some people are just born criminals. They are more likely to engage in bad behavior. This theory suggests that criminals are evolutionary throwbacks whose behavior is more ape-like than human. Basically, what this suggests is that some people are just less evolved or less advanced than other people. They are driven by their instincts to engage in deviant behavior. Some people might believe that there are some people who have a stronger sexual drive. Some people might believe that there are those born with a stronger desire for violence or bloodlust. There are also those who believe that certain criminal types could be identified by their head size, facial characteristics, or even hair color. Can we really identify a bad person by the way that they look? If someone is gorgeous or handsome or good looking, does that make them a good person? If someone is dressed in a shabby, in a dirty way, does that make them someone who is bad? It's not abnormal for us to judge people by the way that they look. We are very much influenced by our peers, by the portrayal of good and bad in the media. Psychological theories of deviance downplay biological factors and emphasize instead the role of parents and early childhood experiences or behavioral conditioning in producing deviant behavior. It assumes that the seeds of deviance are planted in childhood and that adult behavior is a manifestation of early experiences rather than an expression of ongoing social or cultural factors. This theory suggests that who we are today, whether we are a good person or we're a bad person, whether we are someone who enjoys violence or someone who's very, very caring, is a product of our childhood upbringing. It's very interesting because I've seen some interviews. Basically what they do is they interview pedophiles or child molesters. And it was found that many pedophiles, many child molesters were molested by their own parents. They were raped, they were betrayed by someone that they love, someone that they trust the most. If left unresolved, this kind of trauma can have a strong impact on our psychology. What did we do as children that caused our parents to be proud of us? What did we do that caused our parents to punish us or to scold us? Behavioral or sociological theories suggest that people adjust and modify their behaviors in response to the rewards and punishments their actions elicit. If the action was something that leads to a positive or a favorable outcome, we are more likely to repeat the action. The decisions that we make in our lives are affected by rewards and punishments for performing the crime. So we ask the question, is crime ultimately a product of environment? What about personal choice? At the end of the day, are criminals to be blamed for the crimes that they commit? Some of these criminals may be psychologically or mentally damaged as a result of their childhood trauma. Some people may have mental issues that cause them to behave in an irrational or an unstable manner. Should we pity these people? Should we help these people get treatment? Or should we just punish them because we believe that what they have done is their fault and their fault alone? Can we blame society? In some societies, as the rich gets richer and the poor gets poorer, can we really blame some criminals for committing the crimes that they did? When a poor mother steals a loaf of bread to feed their children, when someone breaks into a house to steal a TV because it's so much easier than to have to work so hard to make that money, is it fair when we have bank managers and politicians who cheat millions and millions of dollars but only get such light prison sentences? When we look at the news every day, some of us can't help but think that why is it that some criminals are rewarded or they get away with what they have done? In strain theory proposed by Robert Merton, it is believed that American society pushes individuals towards deviance by overemphasizing the importance of monetary success while failing to emphasize the importance of using legitimate means to achieve that success. When you look at popular celebrities on social media or in Hollywood, people tend to look up to the rich and successful. People who have a lot of money, most of the time, we don't put any emphasis on how we get that money. We may look at a list that says the top 10 richest people in the world, but there's no list in the world that gives credit to the most moral or the most kind-hearted people in the world. Meanwhile, control theory suggests that social ties among people are important in determining their behavior. It is believed that what causes deviance is the absence of what causes conformity. In other words, you are controlled by the people that you are with or without. When we don't have positive role models or someone that we aspire to become, we lack something to look forward to. As mentioned in the previous chapter, we have a tendency to become or to follow the behavior of the people that we spend time with. This is why it is important to make friends, to spend time with good people, with people that you want to be like. If you want to be strong and fit, spend time with people who enjoy going to the gym. If you enjoy reading or studying certain topics, make friends with people who enjoy doing the same thing. This is so much easier nowadays because of social media, because of Facebook. It's become easier and easier to meet people who are similar to us, like-minded individuals. Control theory looks at the 4 ways in which individuals become bonded to society and conventional behavior. These 4 ways are attachment to others. When we feel a sense of belonging or an attachment to certain types of people, like our friends, we feel more welcome and we are more likely to follow the rules or follow the standards that are set by that group of people. Commitment to conformity. Is there any reason or motivation for you to want to follow what society considers to be the norm? Are you afraid of punishment or being looked down upon for doing something that is considered to be unacceptable? Involvement in conventional activities. Group activities are an important part of being in a group. They could be sports-related activities like football or basketball, or playing online games like Dota or League of Legends. When we are involved in this kind of activities, we feel as if we are a normal part of society, that we belong in a certain group. Before you start following the rules of an organization or a society, you have to believe in the moral validity of those social rules. Without the belief that those rules are good or beneficial to you, you may start to disregard those rules or not follow the rules when nobody is observing or nobody is looking at you. So, what happens when someone is caught doing something bad or unacceptable in the society? What is their excuse? What is their technique of neutralization? First up, we look at denial of responsibility. It's not my fault. I had no choice. Denying of injury. Even though what I did was wrong, nobody got hurt, so it's not that serious or not that bad. Denial of victim. He deserved it. Basically, whatever I did to this person, he deserved it. He started it. Condemnation of the authorities. Even the politicians are corrupt. Why should I be honest when politicians, those in the highest positions, are corrupt? This is why it's important for leaders to set an example for their followers. Appealing to higher principles of authority. I'm not answerable to you. I did it in the name of God. I did it in the name of love. You have no right to punish me. Basically, this is the idea that whoever I am, whatever I did, is on a different level. The person might believe that whatever he did, the people around him don't understand him, or he may be doing it because God told him to. That's it for part 1 of today's lecture. Let's take a short break. I'll see you shortly.